reason why the UK government wanted to do this was to put off asylum seekers, the thousands of asylum seekers, deter them from making that dangerous and illegal crossing over the channel from France to the UK, and also to break up the business model of the people smugglers that facilitate that journey by saying, if you come here, you will be deported to Rwanda, which we think is a safe country but less attractive than the UK. Now, the judge here agreed with the Court of Appeal. The UK's top court, the Supreme Court, said that Rwanda was not a safe country and that it couldn't guarantee the human rights of those asylum seekers would be respected, and that therefore the UK would be breaking its legal obligations not to send asylum seekers to another country where eventually they would be deported to the country of origin. So those are legal obligations that the UK has under the European Convention on Human Rights and the UN Refugee Convention. This is what the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak had to say about the ruling in the Commons earlier today.
This morning also the Supreme Court gave a judgment on the Rwanda plan. They confirmed that the principle of removing asylum seekers to a safe third country is lawful. There are further elements that they want additional certainty on, and noted that changes can be delivered in the future to address those issues. The government has been working already on a new treaty with Rwanda, and we will finalise that in light of today's judgment. And furthermore, if necessary, I am prepared to revisit our domestic legal framework.
This is a huge blow for UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. This was one of, if not the flagship policy of his government. One of his top 5 priorities, he said all year, was to stop the boats. This makes that harder. So what are the options? You heard there in that clip that he said that they're working on making a treaty with Rwanda instead of a memorandum of understanding, effectively an upgrade which government lawyers believe would make them immune from legal challenges such as this one at the Supreme Court. Alternatively, they could make a treaty with another third country that could give better assurances for judges such as the one that gave the ruling today, or they could indeed look at the UK law on immigration, but that would take time. In terms of that treaty, of upgrading that memorandum of understanding between the UK and Rwanda, upgrading that to a treaty, I asked the lawyer who represented the asylum seekers here today whether that treaty could be legally challenged, and if it couldn't, then effectively his job would be made redundant.
Because of what the Supreme Court has said about the evidence and the real risk on removal to Rwanda.
Okay.
And critically what they've said about the Rwanda government failing to adhere to treaties they've already signed up to.
Okay, that is still, those treaties can still be legally challenged through the courts.
The decision to remove people to Rwanda off the back of a treaty as opposed to a policy, based on the Supreme Court's judgment, I would argue would still be very much challengeable, yes.
So potentially any treaty between the UK and Rwanda could still be legally challenged according to that lawyer, but this is making huge problems, political problems for Rishi Sunak as we enter the run-up to a general election sometime in the UK next year. Just compare and contrast the different positions of factions within his own party. His own Conservative Party's Deputy Chairman Lee Anderson has said that the government should just break the law and send the planes to Rwanda. The Home Secretary, on the other hand, has said that if people want to know the government's position, they should listen to government ministers.